What's good, my dear language learning master? And welcome to a new episode of the Language Input Podcast, in which I'm bringing you a new topic related to, to language learning, of course, but a new topic in which I'm going to talk about something that I believe is really important when it comes to hammering the point home of, the fact that we can not learn any language when you're in the process every step of the way. Okay, I'm always talking about that because I'm totally convinced by it. All right, and today I want to talk about yet one more topic in which I want to help you understand that that's actually the case. All right, that we can not learn any language when you're in the process. All right, so with that being said, let's get right into it. Let's go. And in today's episode, I want to talk about the fact that intelligence, whatever that means, actually plays no role in language learning, or rather in language acquisition, right? And well, first of all, this is an entirely different topic, all right? This is another debate, but I'm not a big fan of the word intelligence or the way we look at it, all right? Because I believe there are different types of intelligence, and we're all different, and that's okay. In general, I'm not a big fan of saying someone's intelligent, someone's not. Whatever that means. All right, like I said, but for the purpose of this episode, when I'm talking about intelligence, probably the closest thing is what we know, like what we know as IQ. All right, but anyway, I mean, like I said, I'm not a big fan of that word. All right, but like the thing that comes to your mind when you think of intelligent, in a traditional way. All right, it could be IQ or whatever it is. But I mean, the main point is that intelligence plays no role. So that's the main point. All right, and I'm constantly talking about several topics related to this same idea that we can all learn any language, because once again, we've all acquired a native language, right? The process always worked with every single one of us, right? So again, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't want to get into that other topic that I was mentioning, all right, but whether it's in school or high school or even outside of the educational system, right? We're always hearing, we're always talking about this kid or this adult being intelligent and the other one not, about this person being talented for languages or not, which we already know doesn't make any sense. All right. But this person is intelligent, so he or she is going to be able to learn the language, and this other person is not. That's the thing I really want to challenge, because I believe that's just false. All right, and I believe it's false because we all have the language mechanism in our brain, right? And the true language acquisition process has nothing to do with IQ or being intelligent, in the traditional sense, of course. Because like I said, we can all learn any language, and we see it all the time with kids. Every single kid acquires their native language. It works all the time, and I've talked about it many times, but a Chinese kid is not born with like a Chinese chip in his brain or in her brain. So he or she's going to be able to learn Chinese and not other languages. Same for a Russian kid, for an American kid, for a Spanish kid, or whatever the country, all right? It's like a weird concept, but for some, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it, but in a weird way, we believe that, Chinese kids, have something in their brain, so they're going to be able to learn Chinese. Spanish kids are going to be able to learn Spanish and not other languages. Russian, Angolan, whatever the country and the language, right? We all have the language mechanism in our brain, all right? And it works for every single language. So that's like the main thing I want to talk about, right? And I even think that, I mean, not only we can all learn any language when you're in the process, but I actually believe intelligence, IQ, or whatever you want to call it, plays no role whatsoever also when it comes to how fast a person is going to learn the language, all right? Because when I talk about this topic, as I'm talking about it right now, you might be thinking that, all right, so we can all learn any language, but there's certainly going to be some people who are going to be able to learn a specific language faster than others, right? And while there's going to be people who are going to learn a language faster than others, I don't think it's because of the actual person or the actual person's IQ or whatever you want to call it, but actually of the circumstances. And again, we see it with kids, like they all end up acquiring the language, which is the most important thing, but we see that some kids start speaking earlier than others, right? And I just think it's connected to the circumstances, being, parents reading more. Parents read more tales to their kids at night, or how to put it into words. Like, we already know that what a kid or what an adult needs in order to learn a language is to listen to the language and to understand what's being said to them, right? And in that sense, I don't know if a specific kid is listening to the language more times. For more time than other kid, because his or her parents speak more than the other kid's parents. I don't know. I'm just thinking about that idea. All right. So because they get more input, they're gonna start speaking earlier than other kid, right? Or maybe the one kid's parent does a better job of using like toys or gestures or pictures to help their kid understand what they mean, what they're talking about, right? I hope it makes sense, all right? Because it's a little bit hard to explain. And same thing for adults, if an adult is going to be able to learn a specific language faster than another person, I don't think that's because that specific person is more intelligent than the other, again, whatever that means, but rather because, first of all, that person is probably getting exposed to the language for more time every day, or that person is telling themselves the truth as to whether a specific resource is comprehensible or not, whereas the other person might be just forcing the issue a little bit. So even though it may seem that both people are actually getting exposed to the language at a similar rate, person number one is actually getting comprehensible input, while the second person is getting comprehensible input 50% of the time. All right? I hope I'm making myself understood here. But, or I don't know, or person number two trying to speak when he or she is not ready to yet, like trying to force output, or not telling themselves the truth about, about whether the input is comprehensible or not, or, trying to sneak in a little bit of grammar study because they're not convinced yet about the natural way of learning the language, which is a process that works all the time, by the way, but that's another topic again. So, they're like little things, little nuances that make the process a little bit different, although it may seem a pretty similar process from the outside, right? I think that's going to determine whether one person is going to learn the language faster than the other or not, right? But I really want to be clear on that. Like, first of all, we can all learn any language while enjoying the process, all right? Actually, I think that's the only way, by the way. And second of all, if there are differences between people, or between the way the process works, or between how much, or between the time it's going to take two different people to actually learn the language, even if they're starting from the same point, if they're getting exposed to the language for the same amount of hours. It's actually the circumstances that's gonna actually help them, or telling themselves the truth, like I said, on whether a specific resource is comprehensible or not. Not trying to speak when they're not ready for it yet, or just having someone in their lives who's gonna tell them stories in a better way, or just listening to music in the free time with the sole purpose of enjoying the music. So they're actually getting some comprehensible input, and they're not really aware of it, right? So it seems like both people are getting the same amount of time, or are getting exposed to the language the same amount of time, but one of the two is actually listening to music at times. And even if it's not 100% comprehensible, he or she might be getting more comprehensible input here and there. So it may seem like they're getting exposed to the language at a similar rate, but they're actually not. So that to me is the difference maker. Or it's all about the circumstances, right? And so I really want to emphasize the thing. I mean, the fact that like intelligence, like it plays no role, like at all, when it comes to language acquisition, right? And I don't want to get into the topic of the educational system and how other subjects work, or what what the education system does in order to help some kids learn what they're hoping to learn, if that makes sense. All right. I mean, I don't want to get into it, but I just think that if done the right way, I believe every single kid or every single adult is capable of learning anything while enjoying it, right? While enjoying the process. But it's just that, a specific topic is not going to be interesting at all for a specific kid or adult, whereas it's super interesting for a second person, right? It's all about the circumstances and the way we do it, right? So, I'm like I said, I'm not going to get into it in this episode, all right? But I have the feeling this works for every single thing, not just languages, all right? But I'm gonna stick to languages because that's what the podcast is about, right? And but I really, really, really want to emphasize this, So if you're out there, you're listening to this, and you've always thought that you weren't talented for languages, or you weren't the most intelligent kid on the block, you know what I mean? It just plays no role, believe me. And that's excellent news, and I'm convinced by it. All right, so that's it for today, and I thank you again in advance for getting this far. For listening to the entire episode. I really appreciate it, and I really hope I help you understand that we can all learn any language when enjoying the process. All right. And I'm going to keep thinking about different ways of saying it, of different ways of hammering the point home, of different ideas in which I might help this person realize that they can learn any language when enjoying the process. All right. Because the way I try to explain it in one episode might not hit the point for you, all right? Or you might not relate to it for whatever the reason. So that's why I'm always trying to think about different little topics or different ways of pretty much saying the same thing, right? Which is the fact that we can all learn any language. But, I'm trying to find different ideas so it clicks for a specific person, as opposed to a previous episode that, in which I talked about pretty much the same thing, but in a different way. And for whatever the reason, it didn't click for them, right? So I'm hoping this episode clicked for as many people as possible, because again, that's my main goal. Because it's just like day and night. It's my life changed for the better. Obviously, my life changed so much when I realized about all this. I just enjoy the process so much every single day. as opposed to what it was before, to what it was in college or high school, with the traditional grammar approach. So, I'm just going to keep pounding it in your head. I'm just going to keep creating episodes because I love it, because I enjoy it, because I'm passionate about it, but because I want to help as many people as possible realize about it. And because, if it takes a different approach to help a specific person, I'm all in for it. So, all right. So thank you. And I'll see you in the next episode. And as usual, any comment, opinion, idea, suggestion you have about this particular episode or anything related to language learning, feel free to leave your comments down below. If you're listening to this on YouTube or any other platform where you can leave your messages, right? And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye bye.